hot, streamy summer. Get it? Streamy? Get the joke?
I get it.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I know.
okay,
I was
okay.
okay.
Mic on?
Good afternoon, everybody. Let me know when you can hear me. Be kind today because, one, I haven't slept in how many hours? Certainly, I didn't get any last night, so that's 2 days. So, I'm a little. And Scott is actually manning the.
The teleprompter.
The teleprompter, right? The laptop. He's not very experienced at that, and so when it comes time to ask questions, remember that. Be gentle, please. So let's get started. So also really busy. I will do a short Q&A. I don't know how long. We're trying to get an update out. We're trying to get an alpha test for this weekend that may turn into a beta 1 test as well. We'll see where we're at around 5:30. We just sent out a message to all of our alpha and IT backers to please jump into the build if you can. We want to see if we squash the memory leaks. Well, the memory leak and the client crashing. Server's been rock solid. That isn't an issue, but we definitely had some problems with some PCs, and it really wasn't PC based. It was just crashing based. It wasn't based on any particular spec. So with some people last week, we want to see if we've nailed those. So if all goes well, at a minimum, an alpha IT test. And if that goes well over the weekend, absolutely we'll be set for a beta test, maybe Tuesday at the latest, if it goes well this weekend. So, okay, let's go over all the notes. I'm reading this kind of live. Tyler's out sick. So he was compiling this until the last minute, and we've been obviously focusing on testing the build. I've been doing some gifting testing, etc. So excuse me as I really read this with you. So last week, big pushes. A lot of you know, about half of you actually, at least could have known. We did a lot with arrows. Lots and lots of stuff with arrows. Not only making them shoot better, but fixing some of the stability problems, which were actually just memory leaks associated with firing hundreds, then many, many hundreds. Forget what we got up to early this week within 1 second. So that was interesting. So that is going well. We have a version that we're testing now, which has 2 major fixes. Three actually. One to the memory leaks that we were seeing. A lot of it was indeed related to arrows, so that should be better. Second, we were also seeing some crashes during startup. We haven't seen many of those, so that's better. And then just crashing while you're walking around. You might have been spamming abilities. You might not have been spamming abilities. That also seems better. I'll know more in about a half hour. We added a new reporting tool, which is going to make it much easier for engineers here to track down these kind of memory leaks and weird things happening. So that's going to help us going forward. The bots, yes. If you saw the bots, they made a return as mobile, not flying through the air critters this week. So that was really good. They were also firing off abilities. So moving bots, firing abilities. They're not quite back to where they were, but they're getting there. We believe we fixed the patcher issue that was causing the black screen. That was causing the client zombie processes that would be hanging around, as you folks have noticed and let us know. Thank you. That many of you were getting these zombie processes that would live forever. So we believe we fixed that as well. And we fixed in little bugs comparatively. We fixed auto run when alt tabbed, so that's kind of necessary. when people want to actually test how long they can run in the game without having to constantly put the focus back on the client. So that's fixed. Let's see. Next, we've added more aero components. Some of you saw that we were as well building a turret. And so I'll talk a little bit about that and what its role is going to be, certainly in the short term. Andrew, hopefully you folks all saw Andrew's stream. He was doing some kind of necessary and really cool stuff. And so he's been landing code right and left with that. Very important for the ability system moving forward. We've been expanding the way our zones work and how physics works within the zones. So new islands sooner rather than later. Continued work on reutilizing some of the old UI for ability building, and that's going very well. More stuff for rehabilitation, adding now conditional events and the never-ending benefication, which is just a lot of fun for Ben, and the engineers haven't killed him yet, which is a good thing. As Ben continues to make sure that we have the kind of abilities you folks have been waiting for. So between Ben and the engineers, that is going very, very well. Let's see, next. Bunch of very useful, if not terribly sexy things about pushing player info from the server to the UI for groups. Mark has built a framework for abilities, which is going to make it a lot easier for us to track in the ability builder. So that's great. Work is continuing on plots. So hopefully next week we will be having a more hardcore test of them than we have in the past, which would be great. We started work on something that we've needed to do for a while, which is getting placeables, easy placeables within the world. As you might imagine, with a procedurally generated world, it's a little trickier than it would be in a standard engine. So we're finally getting to that. That's going to make it kind of a lot easier to put objects down in. As we have said, we need to build out the world. Well, we couldn't do it without that. So that's going to be coming along. Garrett actually contributed again to the build, this time with a map maker, which will be a one-button push, which will be really useful, obviously, during testing. And there's no change about where the role of maps will be in this game. No change at all. But we have said right from the beginning, during beta, we're going to be giving you people more information. Because frankly, trying to keep stuff secret or making your life harder during beta 1 is stupid. I mean, that's really kind of nonsensical and not conducive to helping us actually fix any design issues or any bugs in the game. So you'll be getting more information. Let's see, next up on the art side. So we talked a little bit last week about what we were doing with fidgets and and idols. And we're now in a very good place with having one very strong stance per realm. So that is what we're using for the base of all the idols and fidgets. So once we have that now. Once we get a bit more tech, we will also be able to begin to differentiate them by race, by gender, by realm for all the animations. So that's kind of cool, kind of necessary. We've said right from the beginning as well that we wanted this game to feel like a modern game, to have the kind of, very smooth animation, very lifelike, very interesting animation, so it doesn't look all stiff and cardboardy and boring. And so this is all part of that. We finished the high poly modeling of the Viking two-handed hammer, the Arthurian polearm, and the Tuatha De Danann great sword. So they're looking really good. Can't wait to start showing them off. We did. Michelle did some really cool concept art on physicians' bottles, the Stone Healer rune rocks, and more iteration coming on the maces. So that is a whole bunch of fun stuff coming from her. And I think you're going to see, if you don't see them in this update, you'll see them in the next update. Scott, have you shown any of the...
plan to show them today.
Yeah.
Pieces?
No. The fidget jet. Did we didn't have we showed any of those yet?
Oh, sorry, you said fidgets?
Fidgets.
Yeah, I actually want to put in some poses.
No, I'm saying, have you during your stream? Did you show any
Yes,
of them?
I have.
Okay, great. So you were very. I forgot. So you guys and gals saw some of the fidgets that we're working on, and between Scott and Sandra, I think we're going to have some really cool, some really interesting ones. Let's see. Next, we've been laying out the UV sheets for the materials for the weapons. So that's going to obviously change the look of the whatever weapons we have in the game at the time. So that's going to look really nice. Finally, getting around to doing some more biome assets. Haven't had time to do it. We've been focusing on other things, but now we're starting to, again, just like placeable assets, make the world feel more like a world. And the arrow, and the last thing on the art notes is the arrow turret. So yeah, this was something that I thought would be a really good idea for testing for two reasons. First, because it looks really silly for bots to be firing arrows out of their chest. So having a turret that looks not so bad, especially for something that took all of one day to concept and model. Pretty impressive, but it's going to be very useful during testing. One, so we can have something that is firing arrows at a good rate, but also then something that will be mounted on walls and used in keep defense. So consider this the first pass at some of our anti-raider weaponry. Plus it would be great, again, just for the test. As I mentioned earlier, Ben continues to move forward with the abilities. He's been heads down with the engineers a lot, constantly pushing and getting and moving. I shouldn't say getting, because the engineers are pushing him as well. It's a great dynamic. But pushing our ability system to where it needs to be. Two last things. The French website, I believe, is looking pretty good. So whether you speak, is it open? I don't know if it's open yet. So I don't know if you can see it yet, but you'll see it soon. So sorry it's taken so long, but the French website will be up. And finally, keep fingers crossed, but the gifting test, the final dry run of our gifting system, is now in progress. And we've actually had the first backer redeem a gift code. And if you want more information about how this works, there's a small blurb on the forums talking about it. We've invited 60 people, or people with certain 60 people with certain tiers to come join us over the weekend. If that goes well, we'll invite a whole heck of a lot more on Monday. And then after that, if that goes well, we may open it to everybody. So once again, sorry it took so long, but frankly, anything that involves your money is something we're kind of careful with. So it's there. It so far has come through not only today's dry run, but the last shakedown. I was testing it for those who were on Discord last night. I was saw me here late testing it because I'm paranoid that way, and it all looked good. So hopefully by next week, folks, the majority of you who have tiers that come with additional gift tiers will get a shot at it. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So far, so good. So that is it on the notes. Again, sorry, I'm a little tired. I guess it's starting to get to me. But I will try to do a Q&A. Other than that, again, everything is moving along. Hi. No, just looking. Okay. I will try to stay focused for at least another half hour, and then got to get some stuff done before the update today, and want to see where we are, obviously, with the test for this weekend. So ask your questions. If they stay, really good, I'll stretch it to a half hour. If you guys aren't on me with great questions today, then I'll cut it short.
I'm gonna play Jules' video here.
Sure.
Who are you?
Turn the stove off. Did I hear a dog?
Do you like my shirt? When are this? Is this my spleen?
Now it is time to answer some questions.
Okay, we're back. You're live. Go ahead. Let's check the questions.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oldavik, question. Will we be able to stock arrow turrets? Let me highlight this before it disappears. Will we be able to stock arrow turrets with special arrows? Will we be able to queue up special arrow types and fire that in order?
Not now, of course. But in terms of what's going to happen in your keeps or castles or other structures that you build, yes, the idea, and we haven't talked about it yet, we'll be talking about this a bit later. We expect the defense of your structures to be robust, to not be simple. I wouldn't say it's BSC, though maybe a little bit, but the idea is, and this is just the absolute smallest bit of it, is that it is important, as we've talked about, gosh, I don't know how many times since we launched the Kickstarter, that when you build something, and when something takes time, when something takes money to construct, that it can't just be torn down easily. And we could jump through a lot of artificial hoops in order to make that happen. Obviously, other games have done it. There's nothing wrong with it. But I'd rather see if we could find a more fitting way for you folks to protect your structures. And so things like our arrow turrets, they're just the beginning.
Okay, another gameplay question. What will the game's main damage negation mechanic, what will it be? Will it be a dodge-like system? Will it be a system where you block? Or will it be a get out of a circle mechanic where you can simply block out of it?
Yeah, I think you probably didn't hear when I was asked a similar question over the last few years. In terms of the circle approach, not a big fan. Again, there was nothing wrong with the concept, just not a big fan for this game. Damage mitigation in terms of, active dodging, we've said something that sounds kind of contradictory, but it's actually not. Our projectiles track and are real projectiles, and all of our abilities are real projectiles. So you have some dodging ability, but not the, push button as fast as you can, or just keep pushing button, even if not as fast as you can, to dodge things. That isn't part of the game. On the other hand, if you see something coming at you, yes, that convenient tree or other player can work just fine. So, expect damage mitigation to come through a variety of ways.
There's a question about beta. Can you sum up again what we should expect in the 3 different phases of beta in terms of what to test, what the content might be, races, classes, mechanics, etc.?
No, that is a really long answer. And frankly, I've only talked about the first stage. What I will say on the first stage, though, is things like multiple islands we've talked about. The 3 classes per realm, as we have talked about. A fully working ability creator. That certainly does not mean every ability in the game, because we won't have that many classes in, only 3 per realm, but it needs to work. A variety of abilities, and not just the equivalent of Fireball 1, 2, and 3. The basic crafting system will be in. It won't be animated, it won't be pretty, but who cares? It's Beta 1, and it's an old school Beta 1, and this is what you folks signed up for. You'll be able to see the information. You'll be able to be, to do some data mining, to work with us, and to give us feedback on it. I hope for the majority of you that's a more exciting Beta 1 than you've seen in other games, because that's the whole point. This is a game that is being not only kickstarted, or was kickstarted and now crowdfunded, and we want to get it right. And you don't get it right by shutting the doors to your backers, by hiding information, by going, here, it's done, sort of. And yeah, we can't change anything. That is not the way to do things, and we're not going to do it that way here. So it's going to be rough around the edges, but the best part is we're not going to be hiding stuff from you folks. So that roughness is actually, I hope, will be part of the charm, because you'll be able to see and get the information. You'll be able to, again, point out when we do the dumb, which we will. Every developer does. It's part of being a developer. It's part of being human. And you guys get to be a part of that. So hopefully you'll like that.
There's an economy question. Can we sell what we conquered?
It depends what you're referring to. So if by conquer, you mean can you get a plot, which you can then turn around and sell? Honestly, I haven't even thought of that question. In terms of weapons and other things, things that you get as rewards from your king, things you may be able to find on the battlefield. Sure, absolutely. And in terms of plots, I believe so as well. I mean, if it is yours. And by conquer, it means, again, ownership. Sure, I don't care. That's why I really haven't thought about it. It's a fairly simple answer. If it's something that belongs to your realm, no. If it's something that you have earned the right to take, yes.
It's a question about physics. When are there going to be implementations of physics, parentheses, destruction of buildings in Cube, to test if structures will stand? Is there any date on that?
No date, because that's a low priority for us. Having those structures work within Camelot Unchained is a much higher priority. So that is something that we will be getting to afterwards. We have to, I know some of you folks have said you think we're focusing a little bit too much on Cube, but here's a good example of why actually we're not. That's certainly something that we could make a priority, but it doesn't make any sense. Everything, I'd like to say almost everything, because I'm sure there's something that we did, because that's just going to make Cube that much better and isn't going to have any dramatic effect on CU. But something like stability in single player mode, that will take more work, because obviously we have a server-based physics system, which is works across the entire. It needs to work across all the islands, the multiple realms, and that's not what you have in Cube. So it's going to require a little bit of work to get it working in single player mode on your PC.
Ladoween's asking, who is Matt and has he ever been introduced? That's me. I think he just misheard you saying Scott. So, I'll clarify that.
Yeah, no Matt.
No Matt. All right. I guess I'll skip the stealth question. Is that what the theme of the day is? There's any news about stealth?
No news about stealth. Stealth wasn't obviously confirmed for Beta 1. the opening of Beta 1, so therefore nothing to report on it.
All right, next question. Will there be any sort of aim lock for arrows and projectiles? How hard do you envision it will be to hit a moving target? For example, a melee guy circling, strafing you, or just moving at a distance other than a straight line toward
Yeah, I
you?
get it. So it's meant to be not easy, but it's not also meant to be the equivalent of a Twitch game where you have to be perfect. Keep in mind that one thing that's very important when it comes to arrows is the speed. We want arrows, and I think I've talked about this before, to move very fast. Don't worry about what you see in the game right now. We need to make sure that arrows are not firing slowly so people can always move away. That would be bad. That would be silly. It makes no sense. So yes, you will have a combination of different things you can do to the arrow, the speed of the arrow, that will make them much more accurate in short distance to the target. So you will be able to actually hit the guy who's trying to come kill, the poor, defenseless archer.
Okay, here's a question about sieging.
Oh, hang on. And by the way, I don't think we've mentioned this in the updates yet. We're going to Dragon Con again this year. So if you're going to be in Dragon Con in Atlanta, as usual, stop by, find us. We're going to be on panels. We're going to be wandering around. So hopefully you'll see some of you like we did last year, this year again in Atlanta.
So here's a question about sieging. Would it be fair to describe sieging as a structure? No, sorry again. Would it be fair to describe sieging a structure as a raid concept? If no players are there to defend, do you expect it to still be possible for even a rather organized group of players to wipe trying to take a well-defended structure, whether it be from guards or automated defense sieges?
Hell yeah. If it's easy to take a structure when there's nobody there, no matter how well defended, that won't be good. That will be bad. That will mean we haven't done our job. Now, of course, the counter to that would be, well, but wait, if it's impossible, then that means we'll have no chance of winning when there are players there to defend it. And that's where A, being clever, and obviously clever, comes in. And I don't mean me, I mean us as a studio. And two, it's the same thing also we've said from the beginning. This game is about going out and burning down people's structures. It's about taking things. It's about raiding in the Viking use of the term as opposed to the WoW use of the term. On the other hand, many of us who've played, whether it was Dark Age of Camelot or other games, are very familiar with alarm clock raiding. And so we have to try to find the nice and difficult balance between impossible to take and, oh my God, this is so easy, we can do this every night when no one's here and do it lots and lots of times. So that's the challenge. And while it's really hard to get it right, we are going to spend a lot of time trying some things that might be less than conventional if the other stuff doesn't work. Because, and I've said this as well since the beginning, we're not afraid to take chances. You folks have seen that, whether it's any of the BSC items we've talked about or just in general. So, forget any notion of, well, if you're going to do that, Mark, you're going to set up guards and you're going to set up some weapons. We've seen that all and done that before. You're right, a lot of it is very tropish. We're trying to be more creative, be more imaginative. And if that doesn't work, then we'll try some other things. Because, again, it is so important to get that balance right. And, well, that's what we're certainly going to talk about in the future.
Okay. Thorcad, he's new to the channel and learning about the game for the first time. He asks, many players, including me, love Darkness Falls. Will there be a similar place where all factions can clash over resources?
Hey, I'm going to turn this over to you guys in Twitch chat. What's the answer to that question, folks? Let them know.
All right.
So yes, I assume did he get the answer?
Let me keep scrolling down, trying to find questions as well. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the depths is going to be awesome. It's something that I've wanted to do for a very long time. You know, I have a fondness for places like that, and now I can, merge it with a bit of Cthulhu, bit of Giger. Should be quite interesting.
Give me a couple seconds.
Sure.
Okay, here's a question. Alright, given how much the game seems to be server-based, aren't you worried that under the stress of thousands of players, will it collapse on itself? Will there be open beta tests for non-backers?
Yes to the latter. In terms of the former, we've already had thousands of backers and bots. Are we worried about it? We've been worried about it from before the Kickstarter. That's why we spent as much time doing it. And that's the difference. I mean, so you look at our approach. We have said right from the beginning that we were going to try the difficult. We weren't going to settle for, licensing an engine and simply going, hey, we'll do a decent number, but we can't push it too far. We're doing the difficult. We're pushing it already. We've been spending so much time on the tech side. Some of our backers know, including people who've asked for a refund, that, why aren't you working on high-end game systems, Mark? Why isn't there more to see? Why isn't there, I want to play more of the game. Well, we're doing it the right way. We've been focusing on tech right from the start. We've been telling you, hey, this is going to be our focus because we, until recently, couldn't get enough engineers. And so we made the choice that I think you wanted us, even if you didn't want us to make, which was keep doing what you're doing. Keep focusing on the things that will make this game, allow this game to survive its launch, like many MMOs haven't, but also to grow going forward. And you don't do that by focusing on tech at the last minute. You don't do that by trying to build the high end, or building, as I used to say at Mythic, you don't build the penthouse before you build the foundation. We've been building the foundation. Why the term? That's why the term foundational principles. That's why we keep talking about the engine, keep talking about what we've been working on. Because without that, we'd be screwed. We're not, and we're also not worried at all about what we're going to be able to support. Because I know we're going to do it. I am fortunate, as I've said many a time, to be surrounded with really talented and really wonderful people. We will pull it off. We've already shown how close we are to having the 1,000-person battle. We've had 1,800 backers and bots. That was bad. Now, of course, show me an engine that can handle 1,800 backers and bots in a tiny space and not slow down. But we did 800 kind of comfortably. And so I think we're going to hit that number that we need to hit, and we're going to hit it sooner rather than later.
War Cabbage asks, any details on the death system? Will it be meaningful, or will players respawn nearby? Are there any death penalties in mind, like res sickness?
Yes, death penalties are absolutely confirmed. We have talked about that. The idea, what they will be, we haven't talked about in detail, but there has to be a penalty with death. I've said from the beginning, this can't be a game where, you die and you pop up. You die and you pop up. That wouldn't work for this kind of game. Death has to be meaningful. Keeps sieges have to be meaningful. And you can't do that if you're playing whack-a-mole with a guy. So yes, expect death penalties and expect it to be meaningful. Now, let me also say, we don't want it so painful that it becomes a quit point. And I don't mean a quit point in terms of some more modern gamers who don't ever want to lose. Well, actually, none of us want to lose, but who get very upset, if they lose, and they get very upset if they're inconvenienced in any way. That's not the kind of game we're making. We're making a game where, yeah, you've got to work together. Yeah, you've got to be smart. Yeah, at times death is going to sting. And, that will work. Because when you are building an RVR game, you kind of have to have that if you want it to make not only sense, but if you want it to be fun as well.
Odovic asks, in a one-on-one fight between two melee characters, one being max offensive and the other being max defensive, and all other factors being equal, who would win consistently in CU?
Gosh. Loaded question because it's really not that simple. Don't forget this is a rock, paper, scissors game. And so you would have to be looking at, well, this guy's defensive, but are his defensive abilities geared more towards the offensive abilities of the opposing number? Remember, this is not, a two-realm game. This is a 3. So if the defensive player is properly spec'd, the equivalent of specs, in terms of not spec just in terms of abilities, but really is the defensive character who's supposed to take on another realm with an apostrophe S, heaviest hitter, then yeah, he's going to have a better chance. On the other hand, even if it's a strong defensive guy, if it's not a good matchup for the defensive guy, the offensive guy will win. Rock, paper, scissors.
Question, what rewards would someone get from their king from a successful siege or other than XP?
Great question. So XP in this sense is a lot more complicated, as you may know, in terms of it's not experience in the sense of you go from level 1 to level 2, ding, grats, but more uses. But as well, you will get things like raw materials. You'll get money. You'll get awards, the equivalent of awards. You'll get deeds, greater, or how to put it, because it's still the original deed. So your deed to your plot, if you've earned it already, will be increased. So it's not, I guess you could look at it as you might be getting a second deed, but really it's just a deed that says instead of having a plot, this big, now you can have a plot this big. Or you can build a plot that has X amount of bricks or stone or wood or whatever going up. So that's how it's going to, that's some of the things you're going to get. The idea with the realm, with the rewards from the realm, is that we want to use that as a catch-all. Not for just the more obvious things, but also for things that could allow us to keep within our horizontal progression system, which is so important. Just rewarding people with abilities, which would be, with experience points, would break a horizontal system, right? Because, you're going up and you keep going up. And that's not, in any way horizontal. On the other hand, by using the realm rewards in some very interesting ways, you're not just fighting for experience points. You're fighting for a lot of different things. And that, I think, is a nice change for this type of game.
There's been some talk about the new programmer. Rhaegar's asking any news on the new programmer and which site.
Oh, yeah, unfortunately that didn't work out. Nice guy. We went through the process, and it just didn't work. So, sadly, we couldn't add yet again another programmer. But I've got 4 more in the queue that I'm looking at. I need to look at, as a matter of fact. If not, I doubt I'll get to it today, but next week. I don't know how good they are, so nothing to get excited about. I forgot to mention that last week. My apologies.
From a technical point of view, How are you going to make sure that large-scale RVR with hundreds of players won't be impaired too much by lag or similar overstressing effects?
Well, we've already done 800 and gone even higher. So again, that's the same question that we've been trying to answer from day one. In order to eliminate a lag or come close to it, assuming a stable connection, it's a matter of really good programming, really solid design. It's a matter of keeping a tight rein, which Andrew, tries to do, on exactly how much data is being sent from the server to the client, and from the client to the server. Obviously, the more data, for example, that you send, the slower it's going to be to get, the more important packets. So we have to keep an eye on that. We have to do some incredibly clever programming that Andrew and Mark and George and every other member of the team, and the guys who were there, certainly before Mark and George, have focused on as well, to try to keep the kind of big numbers we've already shown. So 200's for tourists. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze, I think.
Looks a light.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, 200 is for tourists. If you can't do 200 in this day and age, this kind of game, building it from scratch, then you shouldn't be in the business. Higher than that, it gets harder. Using somebody else's engine is harder. And when I said about 200 is not in any way a diss at guys who are using existing engines. It isn't. You're limited by what was built, especially if it's older. In our case, we built it from scratch, just for that reason.
Okay, Fourth Waller Spot would like to know what your plans are about fast travel, and what are your plans to keep Zergs to a minimum?
Okay, so this is easy. No fast travel. Well, almost no instant travel, unless you consider dying and going back to wherever you end up going back to be instant. But that's back where you're dead, not back into the battle. And very little very fast travel. Will there be faster travel? Oh, absolutely. We've talked about that, whether it's the roads, whether it's the equivalent, the bards, and bardic-like classes that will allow you to speed up your group. That is absolutely confirmed in the game. Will there be other ways to move faster? Yes. But instant travel, that is not a thing in the game. It may be obviously in beta to get between the islands, but that doesn't count because we're not spending